Three, two. Let's try that again. 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. This is our Lunch and Learn of the week. Things are a little bit different this week, as you can tell. I'm not Anthony Darby. It's me, Brandon Bell, the Director of Marketing here at Peninsula Wellness. I'm filling in for this week, and I'm actually pretty excited because this week's topic is something that honestly hits home with me very much so. It's one reason why I believe I'm in the field that I'm in, and this one's essentially all about finding supportive ways to help you with wellness, and here's the kicker: they're essentially all free. Things that you can do at home, things that we've been trying to kind of give you guys like little hints at, and actually like instructional videos and things like that, as you'll get to see, but just different things that we've tried to introduce within our campus that you can actually take part and do at home. Again, just as a very natural way to kind of, again, increase your overall wellness. So, I mean, honestly, let's just jump right into it again. I'm pretty excited for this. So, some of these might seem self-explanatory, but at the same time, a lot of us are lacking in some of these areas, or we could put more focus into them. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into movement. So, let's talk about it real quick. Why is movement so important? Well, obviously, it gets your blood flowing, gets your oxygen moving, but what does that actually do? What that's going to do is ultimately end up help cleansing your blood system, but more importantly, it's a huge boost of your mood. What's going to happen when you have a huge mood boost is you're more than likely, one, you're going to have a better perspective on everything. You're going to be more optimized for your day. There's a good chance that you're going to end up being more positive and friendly towards others. You're going to treat yourself better. All these things come into hand-in-hand play with the aspect of actually moving. Again, it might seem self-explanatory, but if we don't exercise daily, these are things that can eventually get caught up, and we don't understand why we might feel sluggish or fatigued or a little bit down. And it's honestly because we haven't given our heart the chance to kind of beat itself up and to do what we are naturally inclined to do, which is essentially run around. As we get older, we sit in desks, we do things like this. We lose a lot of the drive and desire, and understanding of why that movement is so important. And again, within our campus structure, what we're trying to do is, even though we're not bringing people into our physical community room at the moment, we are still trying to offer these things live, as you just saw. So we have Jerry Miller, who continually will offer yoga. She's actually coming in just a little bit. We have Brandon Hudson with SBY MMA, who is coming in teaching you guys some calisthenics movement routines at home that, again, anybody can do free of charge. So just keep that in mind, that movement is something that if you do daily, even if it's just for 10 to 15 minutes, that's going to have a huge impact on your overall health and wellness. Let's keep on going. The breath. So again, something that might sound kind of self-explanatory or very confusing to some. Why is the breath so important? Again, let's talk about it. A lot of when we typically think of breathing, most of us are actually just think of, okay, I'm inhaling, exhaling, I must be breathing just fine. When in reality, how we sit, the posture we hold, the way we hold, the posture we hold, the way that we, how we end up speaking. My breathing is a little bit differently right now, speaking to the camera, speaking to you guys live. So I have to be aware of how I'm standing, sitting, and things like that. But more importantly, these are, when you're breathing properly, you're oxygenating your body, your bloodstream, your mind, and everything as efficiently as possible. So there's different techniques. We've gone over box breathing within the wellness campus. We've had some yoga sessions that slowly incorporated or slightly incorporated the fire breathing, ways to kind of actually boost your a little bit more of your dopamine, and ways to actually kind of give you some energy. But what we box breathing, what I'm a huge advocate for, is just the breathing in of 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you think about it, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're breathing in, then you hold it for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. You breathe out for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you basically restart that whole cycle and breathe in again for 4 seconds. So what you can actually end up doing with your hand is kind of creating some sort of motion to where you're kind of like breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you start back up. So essentially that's where the whole box breathing technique comes in. You're actually making a square. The purpose of that is to slow your heart rate down. What that ultimately ends up doing is will give you a natural boost to, again, some of your dopamine, but more importantly in this case, maybe your serotonin. So you'll just feel more calm because of that. There's a lot of things that we do to kind of prep ourselves for the day. Some of it's going out for a jog, some of it's getting coffee or drinking tea. But we're often overlooking just the simple, free thing that we can do, which is just focus on our breath. So again, we've focused a little bit on that within our dispensary, but check that stuff out. I mean, there's so much science and things on that, proving that your breath has a huge amount to do with, again, the energy you hold within your body. Ask any swimmer or athlete runner, they're going to tell you breath is everything. So keep that in mind, guys. For movement, the first thing, all you gotta do is get up and move, breathe. That's more important, number 2. This one might perhaps be my favorite, but also one of the hardest to do. Your perspective. This one, again, is something I feel like hits home with me because I am, if I can give a quick story without going too overboard, I'm a prime example of a huge phenomenon where people are in an area, for example, and they feel unfulfilled, or they feel as though that this area or something within the proximity of where they are is the issue for all their problems. Or if they would just move or relocate or have a change of something, that all of a sudden the grass will be greener. I can give, again, real quick, I can give a perfect story of me being somebody, again, from the Eastern Shore, and then wanting to move to a big city. And I got to have the chance when I was very young to basically move out to California, where I thought all my dreams would come true. I'll never forget waking up kind of no different than I normally did. And long story short, I had some very depressing thoughts going on in my head. And I remember at the time it was a huge shock to me because it was like the first moment ever where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, where I am now, I feel exactly the same as I did back in the room and that place that I swore was the root of all my problems. Ultimately, coming to the conclusion that no matter where I was, my problems and things like that would essentially end up following me. So with that being said, I learned over the years, over the last 10 plus years, and still it's an everyday practice, is to maintain the best perspective I can on any situation that comes my way. Right now, I have a pretty demanding job. I'm a father of 3. I have 2 elderly parents. I've got, a lot of other things going on. And in order for me to maintain and to keep a good attitude and things like that, I need to continually look at things in the best light I can. So, of course, I'm a human. Things that can seem negative happen to me all the time, whether it's missing out on the opportunity to go somewhere, missing an email that may have been important, stubbing my toe on the way up the steps, slipping, one of the children getting a boo-boo, things like that. However, if you continually look at things as this, instead of why did this happen to me, and kind of look at it like why is this happening through me? What am I learning from this experience? If you continually train your brain to do that, I don't care what happens and comes your way, you're going to look at it in a much more positive note because you're looking at it as a very analytical, as a very objective point of view. Like, forget about me, forget about this, let's get my feelings out of it. What is the situation, and ultimately, what can I do that's going to lead me to the most productive outcome and the most positive outcome for not just myself but all those around me. And that actually leads directly into the next topic, which is your action. So again, with your perspective, next would come the action. So if you have a negative perspective on a situation, odds are you're going to end up it's going to result into what's considered a negative action. If you have a positive idea or belief of something that's taking place or definition as to what's going on, you're going to have what's considered, again, you're going to probably result in a positive action. I guess, as an example, we could look at, let's just say, running late to an appointment. At the end of the day, all that kind of stuff happens to people all the time for multiple reasons. There's people that will kind of, and I'm guilty of this, which is why I'm able to, I think, articulate this, which is something will happen and let's say it's the first thing you have to do in the morning. Your morning is so far so good. You have to be somewhere at 9. Unfortunately, it's 9:02 and you're still not there, and it might throw you off energetically all day. Your perspective could be a little wonky because you felt as though you already missed the mark to some degree. At the same time, your perspective could have a huge amount to do with that. You could think of all the different reasons why you didn't get to where you needed to on time, or why, if you had no choice and you couldn't leave any earlier, why that's not the end of the world, and why there are so much more important, bigger other things to take. just having those thoughts is a form of action. Just knowing that I want to sit here and reflect on what's going on and how I can best handle and take a grip on this again to move forward in the best direction I can possible. So, you can literally couple those two things together as your perspective, choosing to create action on, I want to analyze my perspective right now, is hand in hand that thing. So then as your day progresses, you're continually resulting in the movement and the actions of speaking to people, carrying yourself, just tackling the rest of your day as though, who cares that the other thing took place and that, maybe it didn't work out to the best of what you were hoping it to. Expectations are really hard. We all have them to a huge degree, but if we live by them, then we're surely going to be disappointed. So it's in our best interest to just, go through these simple little things that, again, I kind of went through, which is, let's do it one more time, which is, we've got things, again, such as movement. We're going to have, there's just thinking, perspective. So again, if you haven't checked out our podcast, check our podcast out. In general, helping somebody, we can help people through the means of just not just, through cannabinoid-based therapies, but also, again, we're offering these virtual and these chances to, again, just interact with us, even through the means like this, of just being on social media and kind of giving you guys a chance to communicate and learn and kind of grow with us. I think, again, one of the most exciting thing to me is now that we're in this facility and we're able to do stuff like this, we can continue to hopefully just bring you this types of stuff and also just continue to expand upon it. So hope have more practitioners in here, bring you more types of this stuff. Eventually, as you know, the states are slowly going to start opening up, and we're going to be able to utilize our community room in ways that we were dreaming of from the beginning, which is bringing our community together in person and taking advantage of all these, again, these amazing techniques that result in very low cost and effectively things that you can do, again, at home for free. Again, movement, your breathing, how you're thinking about something, what actions you're taking each day. Those are all free things that you can do, but they have the huge key impact on, again, changing your body's and your mind's state, ultimately affecting your overall wellness. We are what we think. If you can build good habits and you can allow them to form over time, eventually you change a lot of your body's chemistry, how you even feel about yourself, how you, again, carry yourself, how you think about the world. So each day, just, last thing I'll say is just wake up, take a moment, be appreciative of, just being alive, whether you're sick or not. Be appreciative that you're here alive. If you're in a house, be grateful you're in a house. If you have the heat on, you have the ability to have heat, be grateful you have heat. There are people all over the world in larger numbers than those who do have these things who don't have those. So there's more people living without temperature-controlled homes than there are who do. But how often do we take those things for granted until, let's say, the electricity cuts off and it gets hot? But that simple little practice of just, again, appreciation can make your mood drastically change to where, again, all the other stuff is now flowing in naturally. You feel like exercising. You feel like speaking well to others. You feel like being nice to yourself. You have a better perspective no matter what. And because of that, your actions are going to just reflect that. This was a very different type of, I'd say, lunch and learn than we normally do. We almost always do cannabinoid-based, therapies and just how different ways how cannabis and even, in general, hemp can help you. This one was a little bit differently. We took it, we got all that stuff out of the way, and we're actually getting, no supplements and all that stuff aside, no equipment. This is just purely what you can do with your mind, body, and spirit to essentially go throughout life with a greater sense of accomplishment and knowing that you're actually taking charge of your wellness journey. And again, I think that this is one I'm grateful I got to actually shoot this one because this is something that hits home with me because these are all things that I'm continually thinking about. And throughout the day, I literally would do box breathing to music. Depending on the tempo, it can get very chaotic if it's too fast, but it's something that you can, take ownership of and do it. And it's one of those things where, I'm humbled to say I don't really even know what strong anxiety is anymore because I've taken such control over just monitoring that and, deciding that I'm over living like that. What can I do that's going to help me? And honestly, what was great is these free things are basically almost, let's just say the God-given things we have, and they're actually sometimes the most effective of them all. So keep that in mind. Guys, thanks as always. Humbled to be able to be here. Next week we have Anthony Darby coming back. I believe this one's for your perfect dose. As always, ask us what we can do to help. Of course, I mentioned a few different things. You can check out the podcast. You can watch some of our videos. You can do a few other things. You can reach out to us for a consultation of some sort. Again, we're here to help. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you all next week. All right. Take care.